I'm very honoured and excited about this Rave Story TV episode because these two geezers who I've got sat next to me do not do interviews or tell their life story or expose they're not going to like me saying this, their genius music and promoting brains ever to the world. So for me to get this is an absolute scoop. I know I can't see him in the side of my eyes, but I know they're laughing for you. Shut up, Dan. You're full of rubbish. But I said in my book, and I truly mean this, these two are by far two of the best or best promoters to ever come out of the rave, hardcore, jungle, drum and bass scene that have then gone off to do incredible things in all forms of dance music and entertainment. But before that, they were Slammin Vinyl records, Mike Slammer and Red Alert. Still to this day, they wonder, why do I still play that music? How are you still playing all of our tunes? Because they made timeless classics. Welcome, Mike Slammer, Red Alert, Grant Paul, Rave, hardcore, jungle, drum and bass, promoting music making legends.
You got us blushing now.
Yeah. How does that make you feel to hear me intro you?
I thought you was going to introduce someone else, to be honest with you, but it's us.
Yeah, you very, very rarely do. Well, never. You never do this stuff.
No. Just as we were saying, we're doing our last probably our last rave show after 31 years. Just doing the booking, speaking to all the DJs that we've sort of grown up with, so have a chat.
Yeah.
Have a chat. There's a lot of people I spent a lot of time on the phone to that I hadn't spoken to for years when I was booking them. And I thought, it's probably worth a chat with Dan and
coming on.
Just go on it, yeah.
Because it's been literally an incredible journey from like those first releases in like latter 92, was it the first Slammin Vinyl releases?
Yeah.
You was on Cool FM.
Yeah.
To where you're at now. Because like, sometimes people say, oh, we played for Mike and Grant. They did something in Bristol, or we played for Mike and Grant at this festival. And I'm like, wow, like even more new stuff that they're doing. Take me back to the beginning. How did you two meet and get into rave music?
Well, we was at school, senior school. So we sat next to each other because I did it alphabetically. So there was Rooney and Smith. So we was next to each other. The little gang of us all got on for a few years, but, we were 11, 12, so it was all not much happening. Then my recollection is your brother bringing back the Electro cassettes in those days from America. His brother spent some time in the States. And that got us into like that sort of sound, electro, hip hop, blah, blah, blah. And that sort of just progressed after a few years. I think one year we just realised at school, in the sixth form, lower six, literally everyone was into this rave music that just started. And there was a lot of square people at our school, to use an old-fashioned term, but everyone was into it. It's like...
What year was that?
Probably 1990, 89.
Right.
89, 90, yeah.
I always ask people that because it gives me a real perception of the moment in time and the historic years of like 88, 89, 90.
Yeah. It was pretty mad.
And what were the tunes that you was hearing and what was everyone into?
I think the one that blew me away at the time, I heard in a car, again, like you say, just driving around as teenagers, was LFO.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I heard that. I was like, wow, I've never heard anything like this before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got to get into this sort of thing.
And when you was at school, did you have inklings of making music? Was you naturally gifted with music?
I don't think we are naturally gifted.
Don't do this for 2 hours, playing it down. But yeah, you music playing and like just generally.
Paul's your man, musically.
Yeah, so I was into music as a teenager. I could play keyboards and things. A little bit geeky into like going to I I think it was a Roland. There was like exhibitions where they'd have the latest Rolands and Yamaha kit and latest drum machines and stuff. I'm talking about when I was 16, And I had a weekend job at the time, so it enabled me to save up and buy certain keyboards and things at a really young age. Grant was into hip hop. So, of course, when this rave scene came out, the UK side of it, with synths and hip hop samples, breakbeat samples, like, wow, we should have a go at this.
Yeah. So 1990, like you moving out of hip hop from the electro tapes, LFO being an inspiration, you liking the equipment. Did you start going raves?
Yeah.
What raves were you
again,
going?
you was more ahead of me on that. I was still, I think, the remnants of still into slightly your Public Enemies and Eric B and Rakim, that sort of stuff. But I sort of done my time with that. But Paul was out going to places.
Yeah. Mainly London. So obviously there was Telepathy at Marshgate Lane. Used to go there on, I think it was a Saturday night, and then go straight to work on a Sunday. No sleep. You could do it when you're a teenager.
Oh, good times.
Yeah. Four Aces, obviously. Labyrinth. And then occasionally there was a couple of raves, I think, called Freedom back then as well.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, they were just did warehouses around Hackney and Dalston Lane. I think they just broke into warehouses and quite simple, couple of stacks of speakers, some strobe flowers, and
did you get on it and be in the middle of the dance floor, cuddling everyone, asking them what their names were and where they were from?
Not really.
I think
you never. He's got a little smile on his face.
I think everybody was like-minded, weren't they? But you're young, free. I call it BC, before child.
Right.
So when you're young, when you're that age, you ain't got a care in the world, have you? You're invincible.
Yeah. So, and what was your Sunday job?
I used to work in a market in Islington. Yeah, so I was a barrow boy, to choose an old-fashioned phrase. Yeah, so I worked there weekends. It was quite funny, actually. That had an inspiration on us, because obviously when you're a young teenager and you're keen to earn money and make money and things, there was a shop. I wish I could remember the name of it now. I think Brain Dance, but it opened up in Islington, the market, and it was a ticket outlet. And this is like 88. This is all the Sunrise Festival's 89. So I'm a little kid, 16 years of age. I'm seeing hundreds of people flying in this shop, paying £15 a ticket, and I'm doing the maths.
Yeah.
Going, wow, I need to do that one day. I think the shop got raided and shut down in the end, but got robbed.
You don't want to do that bit of it.
I think it got robbed.
So entrepreneurial mind from straight away. Where was you working, Grant?
I was trying to think. I was working part time in a supermarket. This is while we were both sixth form at school. So I was working for Safeway, which don't exist anymore. I think it's Morrison's or whatever. So I was getting my pittance of money together by doing a few hours there. And then, after a couple of years, we had to sort of make a decision what we're doing here. Are we going to do this properly or what?
Yeah.
I mean, again, as a teenager working on the market, Chalky White would come down and his family, because he was local.
Yeah. And
then the Rat Pack would come down.
They'd
pull up in their car with a private plate, and me going, I'd like to have a private plate. Or I'd look at the car they got. So it was all inspiration.
Yeah, it was all around you. When did you first? Was it DJing first or making music together first?
I was DJing, just a bedroom DJ. Didn't even have Technics. My job didn't extend to that sort of money. So there was Sound Lab or whatever. Just originally sort of just trying to mix hip hop tunes, and then obviously house stuff and all that. Then we got built like a mini studio in Paul's mum and dad's garage, which was very nice of them to tolerate us.
Well, it's Brain before that, wasn't it? Busy Bee.
And then you're right. Prior to that, we hooked up with Busy Bee as
called Red Alert and Pepsi.
That's the long lost member of the tribe. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So Pepsi was an MC on call. And Grant and Justin or Pepsi would do weekly shows.
Right.
Yeah.
So what come first, call or being on Busy's label?
I think Busy was like 91.
Yeah.
I think me and Justin were doing a couple of South London stations like Destiny that never really took off, but that's all we could, not being funny, but that's all we could get, the smaller stations. And then somehow I got linked up with Smurf and Phil, and it was off air for so long. And I remember we got the phone call on, because We had a mobile phone in those days. No one had a mobile phone. It was like, I think it was Phil or Smurf saying, right, we're on, be here next week. This was like
Right.
92 or something. All right, turn up. Yeah.
What was that? So what was you, 17, 18?
18-ish, yeah, 18, 19, yeah.
And what was that like? Literally being on Eastman and Smurf's station and going up to those pirate radio buildings.
Phil Eastman was terrifying because he was a big lad, much older, didn't tolerate fools. And I think we played at some party that we weren't meant to, and he gave us the almighty dressing down. And he was the governor. He was the governor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, as you get older, he becomes a friend.
Yeah.
But at that stage, he was like the sergeant major.
You know, Phil, he still has that way about him. And I say regularly, there's only 3 people. Actually, there's 4 people now. There's only 4 people in this world who can tell me off and I'll listen. My mum, Sonia, Eastman, because I was on call for 15 years and he's my mate, and Andy Swallow Centreforce, because I'm now on Centreforce. They're the only 4 people in this world that when they phone, I'm thinking, what have I done wrong?
Yeah.
Yesterday, not to change it with you lot, Eastman called me. I hadn't spoken to him for 6 weeks. He video calls me. The first thing he says, "You've forgotten about me." "No, Phil. No, I'll be around during the week. We'll go for dinner." And so I know exactly.
Yeah.
I know exactly.
He's got that. He's got that vibe. Yeah.
That authority.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
That's the thing with Phil. So when you used to go up to any stories, any pirate radio stories of the flats and
It's
the
just
buildings and the general ambience.
It was all like Hackney, Homerton. You know, at the time there was Weekend Rush and other stations on. There was a bit of rivalry there. You know, there was the raids, you know, the DTI coming around trying to find the studios. That was, we had a couple of them just sitting there with the noise off thinking, I'm going to end up getting nicked. I can't believe this. What's my dad going to say?
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't, I'm in Hackney in a council flat doing pirate radio. I could get nicked. What's going to happen now? So we're all keeping quiet, hiding under the decks. They disappeared. I don't think they was too worried about studio raids. It was more about just taking the gear, wasn't it? And stopping your broadcasting. But it was... Yeah, you sort of grow up seeing these places that you never see before, and having to, you know, watch your step a little bit.
Because you are the most least pirate radio person I know, to be fair.
Well, that's it. I mean, I was a passive weed smoker, I'd say. Yeah. Up there, but that only.
And how long was you on call for?
2 or 3 years.
That long?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Right.
But in the end, just personally decided I'm not a DJ. This ain't for me.
Yeah.
I don't have not the ego, but you know, it is you know more. But I don't have the personality for this, so I'm happier doing my thing, being behind the scenes.
So you did the tunes on Brain, with Busy.
Yeah.
How many did you do with Busy?
2.
3, wasn't it? Yeah.
And did Busy engineer them, or you all?
No, Busy did. Did. Yeah, we sat there and listened and picked up a few hints and tips.
Yeah. And then what was the next move to Slammin Vinyl records and the first tunes that you did? And this is all whilst you're on call, cutting your teeth on pirate radio,
going out,
the tunes with Brain. What was the step into Slammin Vinyl records?
We're just ambition, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, we want to have our own label, we want to do our own studio, we want to grow.
Yeah.
It's like, well, let's try and do this ourselves. And as Grant said, you know, the technology back then in 92 was very basic. People were into the music because how it sounded rather than the quality of the music.
Yeah.
Which probably came on with liquid drum and bass later on, you know, how clean and well produced that stuff was. But Rave back in 92 was all about a catchy riff. That was it.
Yeah.
It had to be catchy. So we literally made that stuff on 2 Amiga computers and weren't even synced up. You just had to press start on both of them and hope for the best.
60 quid box, sampling box. Didn't have the money for an Akai, which was the industry standard then that everyone had. They were like 2 or 3 grand. It was like, but we did all those tunes on probably about the Amigas were 200 quid. The box was 50 quid. So about 450 quid's worth of equipment.
Did you keep all the equipment? Still got it?
Yeah.
Prosperity.
Yeah, still.
Yeah, somewhere in the box. Yeah.
That is
somewhere.
amazing.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I did a vinyl set. 5 or 6 times a year I do a vinyl set, right? and In Effect and Don't Need Your Love. One, you did it on all that old equipment, so the brakes are really scrappy as it is. Then also the pressing from Telltales, it wavers around.
Yeah.
So you think of how back then I couldn't mix as it was, so I was making a terrible racket. But now I've learned how to mix. They're still
Yeah, so not in time.
because
Yeah.
they go everywhere, and I've got
Yeah.
like, but it's the rough. You always say to me, "Bloody hell, you still playing them records?" They're just so endearingly imperfectionate but amazing. Massive riffs, massive like bass that's too much.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And it's just like, do you look back on it and feel that you've made seminal records of an era in the way that I see him as a DJ who still plays that stuff? How do you feel about it?
I don't. I think there was people who are doing it much better than us who, we looked up to. Production House, Suburban Bass, those sort of labels. Moving Shadow. They were the number one labels, and we were second division. We were sort of doing a bit of what they did, but maybe not quite as good. Occasionally hit a few heights, but they were the absolute dons of it. That's my opinion.
I mean, at the time, it's amazing. You're young kids. You're making music for young kids. I say you're 20-year-olds. You're making music for 20-year-olds, and you're hearing. I mean, there's a couple of moments I remember literally switching from one parent radio station to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, and they're all playing the tunes more or less within 5 minutes.
Amazing.
That was great. And then there was another time where we couldn't actually work it out. We went to Paradise Club. I don't know why we went there.
Paddocks. It was Paddocks, isn't it, in Holborn?
Oh, that was Swanee, wasn't it?
So when we go, yeah.
Paddock.
Yeah, some test presses, and we gave them out to Ray Keith, I think, and Swanee. Yeah. Swanee just went, I'm putting it on now. It's like, don't you want to listen to it? It's like 2 a.m. in the morning. No, it sounds all right.
Yeah, I think it was the first DJ to put everything out. Yeah, I'll play a label out that we know. Thank you.
Yeah. Because, like, it's interesting hearing you, like, and of course you're humble, and Moving Shadow, Sub Bass, that they were so like meticulous in their A&R, in their artist like development and all of that stuff. And everyone in that era was homegrown. Everything was authentic. Everything just had like a natural, organic buzz. But those kind of labels that you mentioned, like if you think of Phil Fearon, Production House, if you think of like Rob Playford, Moving Shadow, Danny Suburban Bass, they was like labels before them, like in other music senses, where they were signing artists and becoming like serious record labels as not saying majors, but they had that mentality, the A&R development, whereas you guys come along, it was all your tracks pretty much. Yeah. You had this like defining logo that was like, bam, you were much more rough and rugged than all those that we've just mentioned. Like your sound technique was different. Like it was much more raw. It was much more raw. But then all of a sudden it was just like everywhere you looked, you saw Slammin Vinyl jackets, record bags. And listen, Suburban Bass Danny's a great mate. I love him to bits, and I admire Moving Shadow. But you'd walk down the street, and like any high street, and someone would be walking along with Slammin Vinyl jackets and that.
How that come about is in the early 90s. There was lots of record distributors. Some of them were rogue, to say the least, and how they'd work was a bit like a long firm. So you'd release a record, and then they would pay you for a few of the records, then encourage you to release a second record. From that money, they'd pay you for the bit from your first record. It was almost done like Bernie Madoff, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was done.
Yeah.
So before you know it, they owe you thousands, and then some of them would go bust.
Yeah, that happened a lot.
Yeah, so after that happened to us, maybe the third or fourth time, we're like, we'll do our own distribution. And there was a guy at that time, there was a shop called Troublesome in Kingston. This is around 94 era. That were selling lots of our records, and they had a distribution arm to them at the same time. Anyway, that closed down, and we then took that shop on, and then by taking that shop on, the distribution guy said, "Well, you interested in this? And he gave us a whole list of how to distribute to all the shops. So then we're like, yeah, we'll do that. So we did our own distribution of the records. Went down to a shop on the south coast called Trip 2 in Southampton, a fella called Daniel. And he's going, you've got a great label. Why don't you guys do merchandise? And we're like, what are you talking about? He goes, you should be doing bags and jackets. He goes, I'm telling you, you should be doing merchandise. I was like, okay, thank you. We went back to London, found some manufacturers and took off from there.
He was off. Do you think like, because as this progresses, people are going to really get your entrepreneurial like minds, right? You think in those days you had an eye on marketing and that, or you just that young, you kind of half had a clue, but was also like, because of how vibrant the scene was, you found yourself in the situations through the love of music. But
I think we had a good logo. Obviously, it weren't our logo. We had to come up with something when we were pressing the first Slammin tune. What we're going to, one side we're going to write, obviously, what the tracks are, but what's the logo for the label? And we're like, I don't know. And it's like, well, that looks good when it spins around. Obviously, a radioactive logo. Bang that on there. And that works really well for records, for merchandise, you name it. So we just did X amount of variations on that. And then we got an SV thing done. It's like, okay, we can do loads with that. We'd be looking at the other bigger boys like Ministry or Cream that were doing that sort of thing in the early days. They were a lot more widespread in their appeal because they were doing more mainstream music, but we would do our own sort of rave version of that and just go mad on, get the record bags out there, get the jackets, t-shirts, hoodies, Slipmats, all sorts of stuff.
because you used to go out and do live PAs as well, didn't you?
We did a few, yeah.
Yeah, because I over the years have actually asked and tried to get,
This is as good as it gets, mate, honestly, yeah.
but you just don't want to do it. But you did do some PAs, didn't you, around the UK and Europe?
Yeah, we did, yeah. Germany, Poland.
Right.
Yeah.
Germany and Poland come to mind, and obviously the UK as well, yeah. Yeah, we did do that for a little stint of that.
Mid-90s.
We did, what was his name? It's the guy's name. When we did Wembley New Year's Eve, it was like
Revelation.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
That was good. That was big. But yeah, I think we soon realised this ain't really us.
Well, like you say, it's taken us years to come on here. We're not sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What drew you to in that time? Because you had the absolute darkness and the energy of the Hoover stabs and the hardcore. You had the ferocious of the breaks, but everything was always like piano, bar a couple of tunes that didn't have piano. What was your vibe and your passion and your feeling to throw all of that into the mix of the tunes? Because there weren't many who did that, and you did it so well, and I think that's what has given you real underground anthems. What was your feeling and vibe to go that way?
I think we was on the cusp of like the scene splitting up into drum and bass properly. So there's still all these different, it evolved from what we'd all call hardcore, isn't it? 90, 91, 92. So you're talking sort of 94, 95, which I think was really the end of us doing it. So the sounds were getting darker. We thought, well, we can do all that. And we did do it. We did try and keep it light so it didn't go too moody. I don't think there's any real plan behind it. Just it sounded all right. It fitted in with what was being played elsewhere at the time. But then after that, I think, the music styles diverged properly into drum and bass going one way, hardcore, happy hardcore, which I always hated that term, going the other way. And that's when it's like, okay, we're sort of done on this front now. We continued the label, brought in people, like Brisk and all that, doing decent, happy hardcore, if you want to call it that sort of stuff. But sold all right and blah, blah, blah. And obviously we promoted that style of music as well. But we was out from there. I think we got up to number 8, number 10 on the label and was like, we're out of ideas. We're out of things to nick off people in terms of sampling.
Right. It's interesting because a lot of people who have made really had a significant influence over a period. Like there is producers who do have their moment and go, right, that's us done. Whereas others go, no, we're going to keep on going and evolving. And a lot of people eventually evolving to just kind of doing the same thing over and over. But it is interesting that you you had that moment and realised, well, that's our moment.
Yeah, that was it. That was it. It's not like, oh, let's change styles or let's start a new label or let's do this and that. We just sort of locked the studio away, really, didn't we? And that was never done it again since.
Yeah.
Well, I think we realised we'd had a good run of that. The distribution companies were still knocking people left, right, and centre, so it's hard to make money. And we liked the control that we had doing our own stuff.
Yeah.
You know, doing the merchandise, looking at albums and stuff.
Probably the best thing about that era, there wasn't a lot of structure to it. There was all sliding doors constantly, doors opening, doors closing. So you can only slice yourself so many ways thinly. So we'd gone from the record label into merchandise. Well, the record bags and, like you say, jackets took off up and down the country for like school kids mainly, you know, which was handy. And then for some, I don't know why, but someone told us to go up to look at the Sanctuary Milton Keynes about 1993, probably Slipmatt to be honest. But yeah, so we was gone up there, heard a lot about it, didn't know anything about it. Went up to Helter, Skelter, down there going, oh my God, this is amazing. Then you start looking around again, look how busy it is. How much everyone paid a ticket. This has got to be the way we got to go. And we've got to start doing our own events. So then we went from doing our first event in 1994, completely naive, didn't realise who Fusion were, which was probably the biggest rave on the south coast. We thought we'd be fine, you know, this cocky little brand from London.
Well, we thought we were from London. We're obviously going to, yeah, we're better than everyone else. How wrong we were.
Yeah, so we did the River Station October 1994, the same night as Fusion, and lost, I think, about £2,000.
£3,000. We lost £3,000.
And I remember the following week was like mortified. You know, I couldn't speak. It's like, oh no, what have we done?
At least you're honest and not saying that you had 10,000 people.
No, we had about
quid and
450 people.
Yeah.
We'd only done one thing before that, and that was Donkey's Years. That was while I was at school. We did a do at someone's house. James Tatch. His parents had our school was quite well to do, apart from us.
It was like the living Ferris Bueller's Day Off for him.
Right.
His mum and dad had a house, probably the equivalent of £3 or £4 million now.
Wow.
Swimming pool and all that. They were going away for a week or 2 weeks, and we're like, venue should we try doing a rave? Yeah, all right, yeah. So we did that, and that was the first one we did. It got closed down, should we say? Yeah, it got closed down. Riot Police turned up. It was funny, but you learn. Paul was doing the bar with his dad. They were like, just getting on with it.
17 years of age, yeah.
Yeah, that was
brilliant.
So we actually probably earned some money out of that one, but the first real one, in the public space, £3,000 was like, well, we ain't doing that again, are we?
Yeah.
But you did.
But we did. Yeah, we did.
Thankfully.
Yeah, we did.
So you did your first one at Rhythm Station. Rhythm Station was a classic venue.
It was a weird one, wasn't it? Yeah, because it was all the shots not known for its anything apart from the British Army. But the owner of the club was up for people doing dues there. So we did that one, lost some money, regrouped and thought, he offered us another date. Okay. I don't know if we broke even or did we earn the £3,000 back? I think we earned the £3,000 back. So we thought, okay, right, we're sort of even now. We'll carry on doing a few more there, and then did one at Labyrinth.
I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
I said, son, do you remember when I walked out there and got a lump of wood round the head? I thought about that in the shower.
That weren't us.
That weren't them. That when I was like 17, 18, wasn't it? Yeah. Remember, it come back to me this morning. And I said to Sonia back, she said, oh, yeah, do you remember that? Yeah. That was your first London one, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah, it was.
For Joe.
I don't know if we did one or two. We was talking about this.
Definitely did one. Maybe did two.
And that was a success?
Yeah, it was all right. It was all right.
Everyone said, oh, yeah, the owner of that club, he's a character. You're going to watch your back. He was good as gold.
Yeah.
Complete gentleman. You know, we did our...
It must have been our mannerisms, because we've done some do's in some funny old places with some funny people at a very young age. I was thinking about this the other day when we moved to start doing Bagley's, which was the next step. And King's Cross was a very, very dodgy part of town compared to what it is. Well, compared to most places, but certainly very different part of the world to what it is now. And there we were at the age of 20 started doing gigs for like 3,000 or 4,000 people in warehouses in King's Cross, drugs, prostitutes, all sorts going on there. I don't think anyone who's 20, 21 now would do that. And we got away with it.
And especially with the people you was working with at back. Well, you've gone from Joe, Labyrinth, and Newton Four Aces in the front line of Dalston, to Bagley's.
Yeah, Terry Sampson.
Yeah. And like you say, that area was derelict compared to now. Prostitutes everywhere, like the people who own the club, like and they think about it. 20 years of age.
I know.
My kids are 27 and 30, and I wouldn't want my kids now to go and put on an event at Bagley's without loads of us there to open.
No, I know. No. And I think we sort of maybe downplayed it at the time and didn't really tell parents or whatever what we were up to, because they'd have probably gone, "What are you doing? That sounds dodgy." So we just sort of did it on the down low and got on with it. But
so what year was your first one? So Labyrinth. So Aldershot was 94.
Yeah.
Slammin Vinyl.
Yeah.
Then Labyrinth 95.
And Bagley's 95 as well. Followed quite soon afterwards.
Wow.
Yeah.
20 years of age.
Yeah.
Putting on events.
2021. Yes.
People.
Yeah.
It was good.
Look, I can see because you're actually smiling.
Actually thinking about it. Yeah.
Like whenever I mention Bagley's, that like it has such an air of nostalgia. Like I'll put pictures up of Bagley's, me on the stage in '93. Me and Sonia met through Bagley's and all that when we was younger, and like I'll put pictures up of it in '93 in the flyers, and they get tens of thousands of comments, likes. Just people just have an air of absolute like love for the memory. What are your memories?
Well, I think everyone
everyone
slagged it off at the time.
Yeah,
but then when it was gone, then it's like nostalgia in general. It was quite a dirty place. It was falling down. The Carsies weren't anything special, shall we say, to say the least. But it had something, didn't it? It was big. It had a big outdoor area, which really helped because it calmed people down a bit. And you could do you had 5 rooms there, so you could do 5 different types of music and pull in some people from each thing. We had garage down there, we had like gabbo in certain rooms, we had hardcore, we had drum and bass, jungle, even them was calling it old school.
Yeah,
that's where a lot of really, really big DJs cut their cloth, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The whole multi-genre rave era.
Yeah.
Grant's still got the receipts. Like, tries his luck. So any chance I can still pay?
I'll get you
250 quid.
Yeah, no.
So you're saying you used to get 3,000 to 4,000 people there from 95 onwards. How many years were you in there?
I'm trying to think when the last one was.
Was it 2003?
Yeah, 2003 was the last one. Yeah, so
8 years.
Yeah.
So, talk me through how you would promote Bagley's and get 4,000 people descend on this venue that 20 to 21-year-old lads were doing. Like what was the process of calling to arms that many people?
It was all analog, wasn't it? No social media, no phones. You couldn't even text. No one was texting then. So it was all done on flyers on the streets, literally handing them out. I think God knows how many places I've been at 6 in the morning.
Years of doing that,
handing them out, all the key clubs. That's how it all works,
Yeah.
And you'd see the same. Basically, anyone that was successful with their nights, like with One Nation, they'd even had their own team out flying, so that everyone that left got a leaflet.
Yeah. And what promoters did you look up to in that point in time when you looked around? Because obviously you're going to have a competitive streak,
yeah.
But then also you've got to have an admiration streak of like, you know what, we really respect them,
yeah.
But even though we're going to last longer than them in the long term.
Well, yeah, we didn't know that, but yeah,
that. But I know that you would have had some fire in your belly.
I suppose the ones that were doing it at the time, it wasn't really London. didn't really, because we very quickly started doing Milton Keynes as well, Sanctuary. So that opens you up to a whole new world of promoters. So,
well, the biggest two were David and Murray.
David Pratley, who did Helter, Skelter, Murray, who did Dreamscape.
Yeah.
They were like I think we'd just gone beyond the sort of Midlands phase of Amnesia House and all that. I think they had faded. Dreamscape and Helter Skelter were the ones. So they were doing what we were doing on a bigger scale, more people, doing great with merchandise, doing great with tape packs, all that sort of thing. So we're like, okay, yeah, that's... And then going back to London or South East, obviously World Dance, Jay and Chris were like... Definitely the gold standard in the way they did stuff. They were way ahead of
it's mad you met
way ahead of their time.
Dave Helter Skelter and Jay Well Dance on Saturday. I went to one of my gigs and out walked Dave and Penny. And I was like, this was in Santa Pod. So I give Penny a little cuddle. Dave was on his phone and I called Billy and I said to her, is he working on a bank holiday Saturday night?
Probably.
And she went, Dan, he don't get off of his phone because he's like you two. He's an absolute like workaholic. And then I went down and DJ'd for Jay Well Dance at his big reunion event. And he was like full of beans and energy.
Yeah.
It's so good that those guys are all still around and still like, we get to see them and talk to them. And
well, talking to that, I mean, sadly, one of the reasons why we became good at what we did, promotion-wise, was because Murray, Dreamscape, died in a car crash. His wife wanted to sell Dreamscape as a going concern and approached the guy that did all the tape packs for everybody. Obviously, tape packs were a massive thing. And he said to us, I want to do it, but would you come in with me on it? Because I don't know how to promote anything. I know there's money in the packs, but would you do it? Yeah, we'd do it. So we did it, and some of the sort of staff, as it were, from there sort of taught us how to do it. You know, how to plan proper. Vanessa, who was like Murray's right-hand girl, told us how to plan a proper campaign over, say, 3 or 4 months and try and get 10,000 people to a gig.
Wow. But you'd already been getting...
We'd already been doing all right, but that just formalised it and made it, took it a bit more serious,
Yeah, national pool.
Yeah.
That's the difference. So Bagley's was, within the
Within
M25.
Yeah.
But Milton Keynes was national.
Yeah.
So she taught us how to do that.
So, that's when the game upped from doing 20,000 flyers to, say, 250,000 flyers and putting them everywhere, dealing with 200 independent record shops, because they were the ones that sold your tickets. It wasn't Ticketmaster or Skidder or wherever. It was shops. So you had to have a good network. So we got introduced to maybe another 100 shops on what we knew already.
Right.
We had a massive network of people, often really dodgy and trying to steal money off you all the time.
What was your favourite out of Bagley's and Sanctuary?
Both good.
Yeah,
different ages.
Yeah,
both good. Maybe Bagley's because we were young and it was all new, and it was quite funny. We made friends from it. Even like the Door team, some of the Door team from '95, we're still friends with.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And they to be fair, they're probably the reason why we did get through unscathed, because for whatever reason they took a liking to us. Thought these boys are all right. They're straight. They pay. So nothing bad happened.
Yeah,
and I think that really helped.
Yeah.
I don't think it's because the two of us are walking around looking like hard nuts, because we weren't.
You know what? I love the humbleness, because even though like you put on so many events in King's Cross, so many events at Sanctuary, and like I said at the start of this, two of, if not the most successful promoters to come out of our world long term.
Yeah.
You've never been about like over exaggerated stories. You've always just been in like grafting and working for the rave and the good of the buzz. And you wouldn't do something if you didn't love it. And I love that about you two, that there's no like stories or over saturated like truths and stuff.
We were always straight on our numbers. Like if we'd had a bad one, which does happen, we would say, it was rubbish. We lost a load of money. It was crap. We wouldn't go, it was all right, blah, blah, blah. We just go, it was rubbish. Let's do better.
Yeah. Did you used to go out on the stage at Bagley's or Sanctuary, look out and go,
No.
You never did.
Never did. No.
Do you know? Right, my Sonia, she never ever. She'll be out the front, making sure everyone's happy, everything's going good, and I'll say to her, "Go up and have a little look, girl." No, I'm looking after everyone. So you never went up on the stage.
The only time to go up on the stage was to tap the DJ on the shoulder and go, "If you don't turn it down, it's going into the red. We're going to be really annoyed with you."
Yeah.
You're ruining the recordings, and that's where we're earning our money, basically, in those days. So, keep it down.
Absolute buzz of putting on Bagley's and Sanctuary. What was the like driving factor and because you really captured two of the greatest clubs of the rave scene and did it well continually.
But for me, it's still the music because I'm probably a bit more interested in the music side. So to hear a big tune going off an event that you've delivered, and they're all going mad to a tune of the moment, it's still, your hairs come up at the back of your neck.
Yeah.
It
is good. I mean, much as I'm more cynical than Paul, and I'm probably thinking about, you sussed that out a while ago. I'm thinking more about the numbers and how it works and blah, blah, blah. It is good. And even now what we do, which is the same thing, but maybe different. When you've got that many people enjoying themselves, having a really good day or good night, it is nice. It's great if you can earn money out of it as well, because obviously, you have to do that. But it's nice to see that you're giving someone the highlight of their week or their month.
Yeah. Listen, your attention to detail is unbelievable. Last time you did a rave event at Finsbury Park, I remember, and we left. I'd played my set and all that. It was the end of the night, and there you was on the corner of the road in Finsbury Park, overlooking everyone leaving your event, and you just said to me, "Dan, this is the most important part of the day, making sure everyone's going home happy, hearing what people have to say." And you've got tens of thousands of people there, and you've put on hundreds, thousands of events for millions of people over the past 30 years. And there you are, the owner of the festival, there in the absolute thick of tens of thousands of people coming out, making sure they're happy. And not many people do that. Not many people do that.
Just being in it for the long term, making sure you can come back and do it again. Because if you get it wrong, then what?
Yeah.
So,
the last mile, get them home safely so they can come back again.
Yeah. Who was your favourite in those periods of Bagley's and Sanctuary? Because they're iconic moments. Who were your favourite DJs to book, your favourite styles of music?
But Bunter, sorry.
Yeah.
No, don't say that.
So I was the lucky man that did the bookings. And it was easier then, to an extent, than it's a hard job these days. You'd basically ring up a few people. Like number one go-to was Slipmatt.
Yeah.
Such a nice guy.
Yeah.
No drama. The biggest DJ out of the lot really for a long time.
Yeah.
But the easiest guy to book, the nicest man to book, just got on with it. A lot of the drum bass guys, I mean, they were a bit more difficult in that they had agents. So that was always a bit, you're going through the middleman. You didn't have that personal relationship, at least to start with. So there'd be a couple of agents you'd have to deal with and get on their right side, even those days. People like Nicky Black Market was a lovely guy to deal with.
Still to this day.
Yeah, still to this day.
And now we have his daughter, both of them.
Yeah.
Pleasure to put on. And
Ray Keith, Steve Fantasy, all gentlemen, all doing things for the right reasons, did things properly, nice guys. I think who else?
I was going to say most of them, but most.
Yeah. I mean, we've put Andy C. Andy was a young lad when we first booked him, when we were young lads. Very excited about his first tune that he'd done, Valley of the Shadows. He was, couldn't stop talking about it at the time. But he was only a young guy. He was doing really well. But he was good. Kevin, DJ Hype, character.
Yeah. You got a big old smile on your face there. Right, everyone keeps saying, right, so Kevin has sat here and we put the pictures up, me and Kev, put them up. So it's like everyone's excited about Hype's interview coming. When's Hype's interview coming? He's got to watch it yet and approve it. We did it. We did it months ago. He's being a Kevin, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's being a Hype. But in that period, he was like him on the drum and bass, Slipmatt.
Yeah.
They were like Mickey.
Yeah. Mickey was quite a frightening character when we first started, but
Right.
again, Mickey's good as gold. He's done it. He's done all sorts of stuff, hasn't he? He's
Yeah.
not just a DJ. He's done all sorts of stuff, and still doing it. So hats off to him.
You were saying about people that ring you up, like Eastman.
Yeah.
It was always Mickey, wasn't it?
Yeah, Mickey.
Like, oh, no.
Mickey's
Oh, well, I'm a little bit scared.
Yeah.
We done
It was the
yeah.
tape packs, because in those days, obviously, recorded the shows, put them out on tape, sold them through the shops. It was a great tool for getting your do out there, so people could see, oh, that's a Slammin Vinyl gig, right? Let's listen to that. It was handy for DJs in a way, although some objected to us basically putting stuff out there and earning money out of them. And Mickey was one of those who initially objected and made his feelings clear.
Right.
But we'll still remain.
But it makes
Yeah.
you respect him even more.
Yeah. We didn't stop booking him,
Yeah.
So
You MCs as well. You always embrace the MCs. Who were your favourite MCs to put on and work? And
who was it in the early days? It was
I think Carl Storm's probably been.
Carl Storm on the hardcore was a really got involved. Really lived it. Really lived it.
Yeah.
I like IC3.
Roger IC3,
Free character.
Good
Yeah,
character,
really
yeah.
good.
GQ, Gary, Fearless, Wayne, good guys. Like in those days, you'd have two MCs for the whole night.
Yeah.
It'd usually be GQ and Fearless. That would be it. They would just host it all night. But then people like Roger come through, and then obviously Skibbity, X-Man, Shabba, from those early days.
Lots of them you still book now.
Yeah.
Your big shows.
They're still big. It's quite funny that artists from 20, 25, 30 years ago still got a pull.
Yeah.
There's still a marketplace for
Well, it's
them.
legacy, isn't it? They've had, like you as promoters and like your music's travelled, these artists they really pull on the heartstrings of 50-plus-year-olds, but then still have an energy for the youngsters, especially someone like Shabba, who's like so authentic within what he's always done.
Yeah.
And listen, I had Carl Storm at a boat party for us in Corfu. Even I'm mesmerised watching his energy. I'm worn out watching him. But like the entire boat is literally mesmerised by this man performing. And
he won't let anyone looking away probably call you out for it. What are you?
Yeah,
why are you dancing?
Vibing. And then in equal measures, I actually had on my jungle drum and bass boat, Shabba and GQ, who are completely different performers to Carl, but that commanding voice and that presence that they've both got to an audience, whether it's their age or not, you can't help but feel 90s nostalgia when GQ and Shabba are on the mic. How did you go from Bagley's and Sanctuary, you did them both at the same time alongside each other, to then finding the Western Supermare place and Brixton Academy? Because you also did those side by side, right?
We got into those venues by brands that were getting tired of what they were doing. So there was John Seduction, who had Hardcore Heaven, that used to do the Sanctuary, and we knew by booking him. There was Chris Brown that did United Dance at Leisure Centre, and then obviously Terry would do One Nation at Brixton Academy. So as their journeys were changing, John didn't want to do the events anymore. We bought Hardcore Heaven off John.
Yeah.
We bought United Dance off of Chris, and we bought One Nation off of Terry. Yeah.
There's some bottle when all of those three names you've just mentioned are also business brains. They must have been seeing a change, and you two had the bottle to go, no, we see something here. What made you gather those up?
I think it's just maybe. But they're slightly older than us, those guys.
I would say they're all slightly older than you.
And maybe they just had different opportunities, and we were still very much in it and very enthusiastic, and thought, without sounding too wanky, wanted to add stuff to our portfolio of what we did. It was the same stuff as what we already did, with a different brand name and slightly different feel. We can do this, so we did it. And as they said, "No, we're out. We want to do something else." Like, okay, well, we're up for buying it off you.
Yeah, so Hardcore Heaven stopped for a year, didn't it? up in Milton Keynes, and then we bought it back a year later. and it worked. And then that's what got us into doing the Sanctuary.
Mm.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And then what about Brixton Academy?
Well,
down
that
Western
was
Super there? How
Brixton
did-
Academy was Terry. I think he'd done 1 or 2 shows there, and we sort of inherited that. They were good shows. They were, Brixton had still has got a lot of weight to it as a venue. You know, it's a worldwide known venue. Yeah, yeah. So we did One Nation shows there for quite a while. The lineups we used to book for them. I mean, just thinking about this the other day, it'd be Chase and Status, Andy C, Sub Focus, Goldie, Marky, Ronnie Size, all on the same bill. That was when DJ wages were a bit more realistic, should we say?
That was early 2000s.
That would be like 2003, 4, 5, yeah.
5, 6, yeah.
5, 6, maybe, yeah. And then, down the Bath and West sort of came about for 2 reasons. One, Dreamscape had done a show down there. When we took over Dreamscape, we'd done a couple down there. Then we left, we sold out, and it sort of fizzled out from there somehow. So we thought, well, let's resurrect it there. We had to find a new big venue because Milton Keynes was closing down. So we needed somewhere that held between sort of 8 and 10,000 people because the Sanctuary was turning into IKEA. It sold out the land. So we did the very last one there in July.
I just say something which I've not got guilt about, but when I did one of my rave stories, you gave me the last ever Sanctuary poster that was all framed.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I've still got it. I'm just letting you know that it's safe. I've got your own.
You're a good custodian of that sort of thing.
I've got it, and it's still in perfect tape. I was going to say you did the last one at the Sanctuary, and I have your personal poster.
Oh, right, no, that's cool.
That's what I tell you that.
So we did that last one there. That was great. You know, we could have sold that out twice over. And then obviously we'd lined up the Bath and West Showground to do an event there. Did that in October. That took us by surprise because obviously you don't have ticket counts of you can watch every day coming through.
Like now.
It was like about a month out and a record shop phoned up and said, I've sold out. I need some tickets. Like, hang on, how many did he have? Yeah, 200. You sure?
Yeah.
How many books you got or tickets there? Yeah. I've done all 8 books at 25 a go. Oh, all right. We better see if anyone else needs any more. And we rang up. It's like, we nearly sold out, which was quite a surprise for it to go that way. So yeah, we did.
Good venue though.
Good venue. Yeah.
When you said you're doing your last Westfest, you said it's like a real personal one to you.
Yeah.
Something personal that you feel about this Westfest venue.
It was the biggest event at the time for us. And remained the biggest rave-orientated show, bar none. You know, obviously dance music became a bit more commercialised in the late 2000s and festivals started and drum and bass and genres like that sort of became incorporated into other people's shows. But as a proper full-on rave by people that have lived it, it was the only one and still is. You know, it still has sort of carried on through. So yeah, it does. It is the last of those shows.
What's the most people you've ever had there?
Well,
for a multi-arena.
It's been busy.
Right. Look at these two. Look.
Yeah, they've been busy. Yeah, we had a good period of selling out a month in advance, which was pretty unheard of. For that kind of thing. Yeah.
While
the rest of the world's going commercial house and modern EDM.
Yeah.
And
what Grant said before. So 20 years ago, where you had rites of passage for 18-year-olds, they'd go to Reading or Leeds if they were into rock or Radio 1, basically. If you were into rave and you turned 18, your rite of passage was Westfest. That was that, and then from there you'd move on. I mean, it's quite endearing as we've learned, as we've worked with different companies over the last 10 years, like the people, some of the UK people behind Elro, the people behind hospitality, they all like let it slip after a couple of drinks. Oh yeah, I used to go there as a kid.
Yeah,
you know, and that's quite nice to hear.
Yeah, and it's funny, 20 years later or 10 years later, you're putting together other big shows together with them, and you get a little buzz out of that, I suppose.
Before we get on to all the bigness of what you do now, because there's people are going to be fascinated. It's incredible of what you do in like the past decade alone. but from like us talking about LFO in 1990 and discovering like Eastman ringing you up and scaring you to going on to the station, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It of course it's incredible of like here you are on pirate radio, here you are making a tune with Busy Bee, then all of a sudden you're selling out Brixton Academy and Bath and West Showground. But I know you're going to have had some, in that moment in time, some real hairy financial moments. I seem to remember maybe late 90s, early 2000s. My mind might be wrong here, where you put out a compilation album.
Oh.
It didn't go as good as you had envisaged it, and it could have sunk the whole ship. I remember you telling me that one time. Yeah. So tell us some of the real hairy, worrying times that you've had.
That was
because like I just see two really like hard-working, determined geezers, but of course there's also the professional gamblers in you, and there's there's that thrill of the chase. Tell me some of those real bad moments that have been like, oh shit.
Well, there was there was a millennium, 1990 2000, where everyone thought they could put any show on, charge what they want. Even security were charging 4 times, DJs charging 4 times. And we said, you know what, we don't fancy it. We're going to stay out. We're not going to do it.
I think we made some small efforts to try and find somewhere to do it, and luckily there was nowhere available.
Yeah, so we stayed out. So what was meant to be the big scoop of all time was a complete washout. Everybody stayed in.
I remember I was driving around. We were flying all these gigs for our events in February, blah, 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 and seeing all these guys like Terry, like Jay, all the guys that are proper promoters all going, we've done our bollocks. We've done our absolute bollocks tonight. Yeah. So we did dodge a bullet there.
So then we confidently 3 months later plan to release a garage album called UK Garage Flavour. We all like smug that we didn't do Millennium. It was the biggest disaster we ever did.
Yeah.
It did not sell.
Still got 20,000 of them somewhere.
Yeah. It was a complete disaster.
Yeah, and maybe serves us right for stepping outside of what was. We had garage at Bagley's in particular. We had really good garage lineup: Spoonie, Dream Team, EZ, all those guys, Mike Roughcut, Lloyd, and it was good. But maybe we thought we could capitalise on garage was the thing then. I think we stepped into something and went balls out, TV advertising, glamour model on the cover, like as you did in those days. Spent a fortune on it, and it didn't work. So the pot emptied quite quickly.
Yeah.
Then there was Matley Bowl.
Yeah.
It's got its own weather system down there.
Of course, Matley Bowl, where Boomtown is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go on.
Well, we did Matley Bowl in June 2007, and the place just filled up with water.
Yeah.
It literally filled up like a bucket. Yeah, it was awful.
We thought we were experienced at the time because we'd done club shows forever. We were doing Bath and West Showground. We were doing Alexandra Palace, Transmission. We were doing the NEC, massive venues. But we just didn't realise how expensive it is to do an outdoor show. The budget between what we planned and what it turned out to be doubled, and the tickets were halved. So work that one out.
Yeah.
And then, as Paul says, the weather just caned it. We still got about 7,500, 8,000 people, but
walked in, swam out. Yeah, it was awful.
Yeah,
really awful.
Yeah. Remember NEC New Year's Eve? I played for you there, and I also have really, really fond memories of Alexandra Palace because that's like a real for any of us, for you two as promoters and for us as DJs. Alexandra Palace, Brixton Academy, they're real prestigious things to us. Say we played there. And I remember playing for you guys, and you had a rain dance old school room,
right.
And for whatever reason, the room was packed, and they stopped letting people in. And like, I just remember it just being like incredible. Like that'd been early to mid 2000s.
That one went from 2005 to 2009.
Yeah.
But the first 3 there were pretty decent. Yeah.
Because I can in my head you can see the trajectory of like Rhythm Station, Labyrinth, Bagley's and Sanctuary for a number of years. Then all of a sudden you're in huge places that like go like when you think of Bath and West had been used previously, but not on a regular
No.
occasion for one promoter. Alexandra Palace, and it's always been there forever, but you were actually putting multi-genre raves in there. NEC, I forgot all about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. NEC was big. Yeah, yeah.
How many did you do there?
We did, I think, 4 or 5. Always on New Year's Eve,
Yeah.
because it was always empty New Year's Eve. If you tried to get a date there during the year, it was too expensive. But they could fit you in New Year's Eve, and that worked with our calendar anyway. So that was good. I think the buzz of it in those days was like, no one knows who the hell we are. We're not doing anything in any way commercial. We're doing the music that we've come from, and look how many people we're getting.
Yeah.
You know, we're sort of under the radar, but still getting loads of people and not being dictated to by anyone. We did what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do it.
And at that time, the magazines of the moment, like your Mix magazine,
yeah.
wouldn't touch it.
Yeah,
Wouldn't touch Rave in a million years, despite how big despite how
you
much.
know what? I'm always proud of that. Like in this modern era, like to take you guys with when we get onto some of the things you do now, and if you take me going over to like, I'm not a Clockwork Orange house DJ in the same way that I'm not a House is a Feeling house music DJ, but I go there and play our music of 90 and 91, the early house, the bleeps, the bass, the piano, and all 3 of us have been ignored by Mix Mag and DJ Mag, yet here we all are thriving in our what we've always been passionate about without you lot. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Actually, you've done us a favour by not making us something that we're not, because people have grown with what we do.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And
it was never really fashionable what we did at the time.
Yeah.
Once you got beyond that explosion, 1991, 92, 93, it became quite unfashionable, I think.
Yeah.
Still tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people into it, but it wasn't talked about in the music press at the time a lot. It was all about Ministry and Cream and all this and that.
Yeah.
And we was, in the end, we was happy to be ignored.
Yeah.
Do our own thing.
Something you've both been good at with your events, if I trace it back in my mind to the latter 90s, mid noughties, is to say, like when I went the hard dance way, you was always good at knowing that we'll have a room like that's coming. You was always good at, like, when the changing of the guards of drum and bass almost started, like you mentioned, Chase and Status and people, like the natural ebb that you always knew that, hang on a minute, there's a heartbeat there. Did you have to overthink that, or was it you're just into the music and you paid attention?
All that music was very similar in that, it was all of a type, whatever you wanted to call it, hard house, hard trance, even, drum and bass, jungle. It was all fast, quite aggressive music. So it sort of fitted under an umbrella. And it was nice to have that so people wouldn't just be stuck in their own little room listening to it. They would move around and get into other stuff, maybe dance to this one for an hour and then that one, which probably takes it back to how it all started anyway. It was just one big room, everyone listening to DJs playing different types of house or different types of rave music.
And also before social media, your source of information was all the record shops up and down the country. Because you go in, you build up a relationship with all these people. Some of them we still work with now, don't we? Like Ollie from Kent.
Yeah.
He started a record shop. But they were your source of information. What's selling, what ain't selling, what events are selling. And then from that, you join the dots and work it out who you're going to book.
Because you know what? If what you did was easy, everyone would do it. And it's not easy talent spotting or music spotting or know who the next person is, or even down to, like, if a big drum and bass DJ says to you, here, lads, this fella's coming through on the label, put him on. Also having that eye and that ear and then relationships to know who to trust, who's coming through. But yeah, at the heart of all of your events is always the next thing, as well as the traditional names. That's for me, that's a skill in the same way as being a DJ, knowing what record to play next or what artists are coming through.
We always wanted to be current. It was good to have a legacy room, an old school room or whatever, but it always had to be what's happening now rather than, that's why we've never really done legacy, old school heritage events, whatever you want to call them. Even now, you know, we've never really done it. We always had a room of that stuff.
Yeah.
But the main room, as it were, or the bulk of the headliners would be DJs acts that are big now, rather than then.
Yeah. When do you feel it started to change for you as promoters? So for me, the Ali Pallies, the NECs, they're kind of like real pinnacle things for our world of multi-genre, authentic rave promoting. You two took it to places that the others hadn't been, through timing, through resilience, through keeping on. When do you think it changed? Then all of a sudden you started putting marquees and big tops in fields, and the DJ agencies started coming in and making your life difficult. And all of a sudden you two are absolute experts at like helping the best in the games do like, because there's a real progression and change.
Yeah.
Like, when did it change for you?
The game changer was about 2009. So Radio 1, no one would listen to Radio 1 for dance music. Pop band, Smiths and all that sort of thing. Then all of a sudden Radio 1 then took an interest in drum and bass. And drum and bass then became commercial, which is brilliant for the labels, brilliant for the producers. But for what we were doing, it was a nightmare.
And also America opened up to electronic music. Before that, America was strictly rock music, country music, and rap.
Right.
And then 2007-8, they started to get into what they would call EDM, but house music, drum and bass music, and it opened up the market for the DJs in particular. Whereas you had very few territories as a drum and bass DJ. You obviously UK was your bread and butter. You'd do maybe Germany, maybe something in Canada, maybe something in Australia, like the Anglophone world. But suddenly America's opened up to this sort of thing. It's like the Americans are offering 10 times because of the scale.
Yeah, on a tour or whatever.
We'll do you a tour. Instead of getting 500 quid a set, you're going to get $5,000 a set. You can't, as an independent, as we were always self-funded, always have been. How can we compete with that? And that was where it started going away from us.
Yeah. So UK festivals generally in about 2011 were struggling. Certainly Rave. 11 and 12. That's probably when we was at our most worried, I'd say.
Yeah, we were nearly out of it, I think, by then.
You'd say that. You'd say you was nearly out of it.
Yeah.
Was you doing Finsbury Park at that? What?
No. So around about 2012, 2013, fellow we'd known for years, Will Patterson, I'm sure you know.
Will, we know Will.
He came to us and said, guys, you guys did Madly Bowl, didn't you? Blah blah blah. I said, yeah. He goes, well, I think I've partnered up with a guy called James Bennison. I think we might have something we want to deliver. We want to deliver a new show called Found. Would you help us produce it in Haggerston? That was more or less the story, isn't it, Grant?
Yeah, I mean, I think we were 2011, 12. We got the music was going away from us, and also just poor circumstances. We used to do Pontins, the hardcore weekender.
Of course, look, you forget more than what you've done.
Yeah.
I remember,
and that was quite good. But the people that owned it or still own it, I don't know what's happening up there now, suddenly cancelled the gig on us, with probably halfway sold.
They probably watched the DVDs to be fair.
Yeah. And the money from that had gone out there and paid for other stuff. And we're like, we're going to go bankrupt. We've got hundreds of thousands of pounds that we've got to find all of a sudden because they cancelled it. So we managed to get by on that. But just circumstances made us think, okay, we'll do a couple of smaller shows. We'll carry on with Westfest. That's still got some power to it. But this is too dodgy now. We can't do what we're doing. So let's keep it very tight and see what happens. And as Paul said, Will would work with at various shows, Transmission, all sorts of stuff, said, look, we want to do this show in Haggerston Park. You've done outdoor shows. We haven't. Do you want to partner up on it? Oh, yeah, of course we do. So we did that. Sold really well. At the time, we didn't know any of the DJs who they were booking. They were all sort of...
Maya Jane Coles.
Maya Jane Coles and artists like that. We didn't have a clue who they were. Perhaps because we were so in our little silo.
Drum and bass and hardcore.
But it done really well. Done a few more from then, and we started just sort of getting a name like, oh, these boys know how to help people produce an event. If you want to do an outdoor event and do it realistically and not, and people that would partner and put their own money into it, i.e. us.
Yeah.
So, a few more from there sort of progressed.
Yeah, so from Haggerston we went to Finsbury Park.
Yeah.
And then from Finsbury Park, we then went back to Alexandra Palace and did something completely out of dance music to do a fireworks show. We had a relationship with them from doing 2005 to 2009 there.
Yeah.
And so we reopened that relationship and said, you guys used to do the biggest fireworks show in North London. We think we can deliver it with you.
Yeah.
Would you work with us? And they said, yeah, thank you.
Because that's a big thing for you, isn't it? It's a big thing for London as well. It's become like a historic thing in London on firework night.
Yeah.
How and tens of thousands turn up for that, and the whole of London see it. As well.
Well, it used to be a free show, as every local authority used to put on a free fireworks show. It's just the done thing to do, but they gradually run out of money. Their money goes elsewhere now. So, they couldn't justify putting on a free show that would maybe cost £250,000.
Yeah.
So a lot of them just faded, and Ali Pally faded. And because that's semi-local to us, we know the area, we're from North London, it was a big thing. And we said, look, why don't we bring it back, but monetize it, charge for tickets, because nothing's free anymore. That's a good idea. So, we've done that ever since. And yeah, big numbers, 40, 50,000.
Yeah, you did some wicked ones over Finsbury Park as well.
Park, yeah.
How many events did you put on over there? Because you did rave ones with like our ilk.
Yeah.
Like you kept your multi-arena thing going,
did
but
that.
then you also moved into...
Actually,
I have... earlier you said you used to just run the events and not go up on stage.
Yeah.
When you had Grandmaster Flash, I know that you both went in to check out Grandmaster Flash, because that is a bucket moment.
That's a legend, yeah. That is a legend from but not really bust otherwise.
Yeah, you want the whole thing to run smooth,
Yeah.
So how many did you do over Finsbury Park?
Half a dozen, maybe. We did ceremony with James Benison.
Yeah, that was a good show.
And then we did hospitality in the park. Then we did a boat in the park.
Did Southport Weekender.
Oh, she
did a festival with that.
Weekenders.
Yeah.
And that was a great show, because that was an older audience, should we say. So you didn't suddenly feel like the oldest man in the room.
Yeah.
Which is, it was a really nice crowd.
Yeah, it's a really nice crowd.
Really
But that
nice
still
crowd.
takes place annually down at Butlins every May. We deliver that with the guys, and it's a nice.
So as two geezers, right, who have went to school together, been side by side from before you even made your first tunes, have you ever had a row? Have you ever fallen out? Have you ever disagreed?
Not seriously.
No,
Not
we love it. We liken ourselves to Sand and Waldorf at the Muppets. You remember doing the balcony?
Yeah.
They were sort of like that.
It is pretty unique, because most partnerships are a necessity, aren't they? One can do one thing that the other can't. So it makes sense for partnerships to work that way. You do that, I'll do that. But most business partnerships they're done through expediency, for business reasons, because we were mates.
Yeah.
It's got that underlying level.
To it,
We'd go on holiday. In our younger days, we'll go on holiday. All the lads would all go here, do this, do that. It really has helped, because when those moments where you really do your bollocks, it does help to sound it out. If you're by yourself trying to deal with a 150, 200 grand loss on an event, it's soul destroying. But when you've got two of you, you can sort of work it out.
It's mad, because whenever I speak to you, I say, like you always say, he's got all these ideas, boom, 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 and then you're there to
the filter
it all, and you're almost like me and Sonia, only you don't share a bed each night.
How do you know?
Yeah, well, I don't put that in my head.
No.
It's an incredible dynamic between you both, where like the successes you've seen, and then also like in this, you said two things could have sent you bust for an album, and
several events have gone really wrong. Because the difference between us and not really blowing our own trumpet is we always paid everyone. If we'd have lost money, you're going to get paid. It might not be tomorrow, but it'll be in a 3 weeks' time. And that was a moral thing that we had, that it's not their fault that the event didn't work. It's our fault. We've got to suffer the consequences. We're not going to be not paying other people because of our mistake.
Yeah, I've never had your arm around me like I've had it from Richard Raindale's.
It's just not how we do it.
Stop.
Yeah.
Well, it goes
yeah.
both ways. We're not going to pay you more if it goes well. So we have to
Yeah.
pay you the money that's agreed when it hasn't gone well.
Yeah.
What's the day to day of you two work like at this present point in time? What's the date today? The date is August 26th, 2025. Timestamp now. How many events have you got? How many events will you have in 2025 across all the different things you do, and how many people roughly will come to those events?
It's a bit of a mix up because there's most of the stuff we do we're partners in or we own or whatever. There is some stuff we do which is where we just either produce the event for people or we do provide a service, like we run a large scale sort of bar company, food. So if you chuck them into the mix, I don't know, 15, 20 maybe, just to varying sizes, from 5,000 to 45,000.
Yeah. So you could be getting half a million plus people coming through your doors of something you're owning or partnered up on or managing.
Yeah, it's a bit of responsibility there, yeah.
There is a huge undertaking, a huge responsibility. Do you both sleep at night?
Oh, yeah.
But do you get a good deep sleep without stressing and worrying and figures going through your heads?
Sometimes I wake up in the night and go, "Hey Siri, make a note," and I find out if I can dump my brain on my notes and I can go back to sleep.
The worst thing is when you've launched an event and you know it's not going to do well. And
you know that almost instantly as well, don't you?
And you're going to, doesn't matter what you do, you're going to lose a load of money and have to, if you could press a button and get it over with and lose the money instantly and it's all done, that'd be better than I've got 6 months of flogging this dead horse.
Yeah.
I've got to work it, I've got to be there, I've got to smile at people and go, yeah, we're cool when we've just been battered.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing. And that's always in the back of your mind. If you've got one of them going on, that's horrible. You want that over and done. When you do it, feel better the next day because it's done.
Yeah.
You've lost the money or whatever. It wasn't a great show, but you're not got this impending fear of, it's just coming up. Yeah.
It's mad hearing you two because, as you know, I've never gone beyond my 1,500 people, maybe 2,000 people events, but my DJ is my thing and I've always done my underground gigs.
Yeah.
But it's exactly the same ethos, only yours is like 10, 20 times bigger. And I think there's a lot to be learned from a promoter, whether they're doing 300 people or 30,000 people like you, to understand how your brains work.
Still the same principle.
Still the same, yeah.
Just the possibilities for losing large amounts of money are greater.
Far greater.
And particularly these days. Yeah.
What is the day-to-day running of like? So I'm intrigued to know because it's such a huge undertaking. But any business person, any promoter, anyone who wants to be a success at anything, how does your day-to-day running, your basic like timings of a day, your organisation?
Crack open the champagne about 10 o'clock in the morning.
And the cash.
Get the cigars on the go.
Yeah.
It's a normal work day. Yeah, it's five days. Well, it's more than 5 days a week, but 5 days a week out of season. And then obviously summer season, it's 6-7 days a week. And it's 9:30 till 6 every day.
You've got to put the time in, yeah. You got to treat it like another job, any other job. Got to be there doing it. If you're not, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, because I'm useless with my time. Like I have I easily do 12 to 16 hours a day. It's all music, it's all energy, it's all ideas, it's all radio, it's all sorting tunes out, it's being on the... Whereas Sonia is like you two. She is so organised, so focused, so everything's written down, ticked off, and like I often walk past her table after I've been out in my room making noise and being on the phone to everyone. And I walk past her and I just go, "How do you do it?" And that's my question to you two. Like, how are you so flipping organised? A lot of you.
Just got to. It's expected of you now. You can't do it. Geezer with a mobile phone, a Pied Piper sort of character. It doesn't work because you've got, like, Paul does a lot of work with local authorities, councils for licensing stuff, sitting there in front of 40 people, telling them how the event's going to be delivered, how the audience aren't going to smash up everyone's gardens as they leave. You know, there's not going to be a riot, all that sort of stuff. You've got to be sober and sensible and prepared, because they can tell if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. So I guess my days is all like the ops side of it, making, like, delivering the events and stuff. Grant's side is all like making sure that we're actually left with some money at the end of it.
Yeah.
That's the other side of it. As for organisation, I'm not organised. It's all in my head.
Yeah,
So
me too, mate. Me too. Yeah.
What you said about Sonia, what we've learned is surround ourselves by a new team, which are largely females that are super organised, to just smile and giggle the way we still like do stuff like a Pentium 2.
Yeah.
They're like the latest processor, but it works.
Yeah, I believe that I've never grown up. I've had no need to.
Yeah, likewise.
Like it's like
Keeps you young, this job.
Yeah.
You don't, you don't see a lot of people our sort of age. You just think, well, maybe you was always boring, to be honest with you, but you look really boring now. You don't do nothing exciting.
Yeah.
We still think we're 28 or something. Obviously we're not, but we still act like we are.
because what we do takes us back to, you've been doing this since you whilst you was at school. So
you're dealing with a younger audience, or more so now we're not. We're dealing with people 35 upwards, I'd say, most of our shows, but you're seeing them at their best when they're not mum and dad, they're out on the lash or whatever. You're coming into contact with those people, or people that you knew that are your age and still going out. And you still think, okay, cool, yeah, we're still providing service for this audience, as it were.
Yeah. And like you say, all the shows we do, they're all different ages. Some might be 18 up to 60, depending on what show we're working on.
It just reel off some of for all the different genres, all the different DJs, MCs, live acts, top 40 acts, but big commodities in dance. Just reel off between you both artists who you've booked and put on your stages, all musics, all genres.
I mean, we've done loads of stuff where we've just been involved in the promo, not necessarily booked them ourselves, but you think about Annie Mac, Armand Van Helden, Disclosure. The shows we do at Ali Pally, people like Noel Gallagher. That sort of more mainstream stuff. The Black Keys, more mainstream stuff. We had Faithless there this summer, who were good. We had Happy Mondays there, Groove Armada. Most of them, yeah.
Do you ever get starstruck?
No.
I know full well you don't.
They're getting paid really good money. They should be mindful of that.
Yeah.
Getting paid fantastic money for something they enjoy, without maybe the stress of what the promoter goes through.
Yeah.
It's not to say they're not clever and they're not, on top of their game. They are, but they get paid fantastic money these days.
Yeah.
They really do.
What's the difference between booking one of your drum and bass or happy hardcore mates in 1995 for Labyrinth or for Rhythm Station to booking a humongous artist? What's the difference now between booking
It used to be a phone call. It's on this date. You're about, yeah, thanks, right, okay, usual money, 200 quid, whatever.
Yeah.
That's all the back end requirements as well. They're landing, you've got to pick them up, drums to the hotel.
Artists are a business now. They're a total business. As you know, it's not just a geezer turning up and playing records or whatever. He's got a driver, and it usually is he. He's got a driver. He's got a manager. He's got an agent. He wants this rider. He wants this hotel. Can you pick him up? Like all that sort of stuff.
Won't eat this food.
He wants to be billed here on the flyer. Doesn't want to be billed there above them because he doesn't like them. He wants to be billed there. He wants to be the headliner. He wants to be the third headliner. Can he be the special guest? For me, I've run out of patience on that. I've just done it so long that I find it difficult. But luckily, we work with a lot of people who are more patient now and get that and understand it.
It's a fascinating concept, isn't it? Paying someone a large sum of money and an agent acts like they're your boss, but it's your money paying.
It's a hard one to get your head around.
My head, from like you working on the market stalls, I just don't get. It's a strange dynamic, and you two have watched it from straight up having Slipmatt as your headliner, a simple phone call. Thousands of people jammed into the sanctuary for him. He's your mate, no contracts, no nothing, written in his diary. Boom, out the flyer goes.
Yep.
To actually somehow someone you're in some instances hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pounds, you're being spoken to like you're not the paymaster, and my brain doesn't compute with that. But obviously, like you say, you're immune to it. Like, explain how that's happened.
I think what reiterating what Grant said is when the US opened up to dance music, that was the game changer.
Yeah,
Yeah, that it's like different.
The market's just so wide open. The money's so much bigger than it used to be, so we are much less important.
Yeah,
much less.
UK's really small.
Yeah, UK's small. We're offering one date, for example, where someone might be offering a tour of a whole continent and can offer so much more money. But yeah, it has changed. It's an odd thing. The way it is now, it's like walking into a car showroom, like a premium car showroom, like, I don't know, a Merc or BM, Porsche or whatever. You're the customer, you've got $100,000 to spend on a car. You walk into there, they say, sit down, sir. Would you like a coffee? Would you like a water? How can we help you? Blah, blah, blah. Have you had a nice day? With the way it is now with artists, it's like, what do you want? That's basically what they're saying. What do you want? And you have to sell a story almost to start the negotiations. I mean, it's clever. It's worked well for them, but it's because we've done it for so long, the other way, or, it started that way, it still jars when you're having to explain yourself, what you do and who you are, and why we should be offering 50 grand for this guy, for example. Yeah. But that's just the way it is. We're not, if we couldn't reconcile to that, we wouldn't be doing what we do.
Yeah, the only way to remain sane on it is to not think of them as a DJ, think of them as a brand.
Yeah,
and that brand is responsible for paying the wages of the management company and everything that comes with it. So if you look at that DJ as a brand, what the responsibilities it carries, then you don't get upset.
It's interesting, because it falls. I'm still in your old world with everything that I do, right? So like when you said to me, the other week when you phoned and went, Dan, I'm making all the calls, getting all the Westfest lot, blah blah blah, and you said to me, how much do you want? I said, don't worry, it's fucking whatever. You I'm just grateful that like you're doing your last one, and this historic occasion, isn't it? And it is, but like you say, they're brands, they're commodities. It's a different thing, and like you're getting 30 or 40,000 people to some of them
because there's so many people as part of that brand, the team behind it. The money you hand over, it's not like back in the day, thanks for playing, mate, here's 200 quid in your pocket, lovely. Yeah. It's like, here's 20 grand, for example. The agent has his 15%. The manager has his 10%. The driver and support team get some money out of it. If it's a landed deal and they come from abroad, they've got to pay their flight and hotel out of that. Then they're left with whatever's left. Then at that sort of level, most of these people are 45% taxpayers. There's no getting around that. So that 20 grand becomes 7.
Yeah.
Which is still great money, don't get me wrong, but it's not the headline 20 grand that
people think.
Yeah, it goes to all the various parts of the firm, the company,
and all the effort throughout the year to keep that brand where it is.
So whilst we're moaning in that it's not as easy as it used to be, we fully understand how it's coming.
Well, I guess, look, what you do is the same as me as a DJ, having to move from vinyl to the first ever CDJ 100 to now we're on CDJ 3000s, and we've had to experiment at one point with controllers and other things and laptops, and it's exactly what's happened to you guys. You're so that your gift was promoting from your logo and it capturing people, and that was it, you're off. And you've had to grow with how promoting has changed over the years.
I mean, we were notorious for never providing riders or anything for DJs, never providing drinks, because my attitude then was, I'm booking you, you're getting good money, you should be buying me a drink. That's being blunt. And as the years went by and everyone else sort of caved into that, we've had to follow suit. I'm not really mad keen on providing drink catering for people that are working, but the way it is.
Especially when they come over to Finsbury Park and start breaking into your your booze lorry and getting pissed in it and everything.
Yeah.
Do you ever think you see the day where I wouldn't do things like that and end up like 8 years alcohol free?
Yeah, yeah. You was. I do remember that. Yeah, you was.
When I phoned out and apologised.
Yeah.
I've never apologised to so many people on the following.
That's a good sign, though. If you can recognise you've done something a bit slightly out of order, it wasn't big time at all, but just to say
The
that.
way I felt though, once Sonia and Eastman. Sonia and Eastman all said to me the next day, "You mugged yourself up." If you want context, one of their Finsbury Park events, they invited me over for some PR the day before the event. This was when I was a heavy drinker, right? So they thought it'd be a good idea as PR to, Dan, come over, do some videos of you as we're lugging all the alcohol in, and I'm in my element. Look at all this booze that's going to be here. Then on the Saturday I played and I drunk too much booze, so they locked the lorry, and I somehow managed to break in the lorry and get some more booze, which everyone was disgusted at me. I was disgusted at myself, by the way. And then to make it all even worse, the Metro, I don't know if you remember this, and there's a picture that gets used quite a lot. Moondance use it a lot. The Metro used a picture of me on stage, bold as brass, going, Billy Daniel Bunter, absolutely rocked it, blah, blah, blah. I went from hero to zero within 10 minutes of the set. And that was at one of your events.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
And that was one of the catalysts to me going, well, maybe I should stop drinking now if I'm upsetting Eastman and Sonia first, the promoters, and then all the other artists. But yes, it's like things change though, don't they? Things with like
if you don't like it, do something else. Basically, that's really the thing. You can't have it all the way you wanted it to be. And if it's that much of a problem for you, you have to do something else.
Why do you think you've never stopped it? Because I always say this, because I've DJ'd, produced, written books, promoted. I always say promoting is the hardest end of the entertainment in what we do. All your money's on the line, the hard work, you get blamed for everything, blah, 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 blah. It is the hardest thing out of all these things that I've ever done. Why do you think you've stuck at it just so sturdy and bold and never giving in? What is it that's made you keep going and going and going when you've gone bankrupt or been on the verge of bankruptcy a number of times?
Not bad at it, I suppose.
I think we've had more wins and losses.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And what else do you do when you've done it since school, basically?
Not going to.
How do you change now? What do you do now? A lot of the skills, I suppose, are transferable to other businesses, but what are those businesses? It's just what we know. And it is a dangerous game. Like in terms financially, it is dangerous and doesn't get any easier on that. You can lose serious amounts of money now, whereas before it was perhaps less than that. But it's just what we do.
You've always called it educated gambling, haven't you?
It is, yeah. It's And neither of us are gamblers outside of this. God, no. I mean, you couldn't.
Yeah, I think I always say it's professional gambling. It's like in your game of like market stalls, greengrocer and all that. Same with people who sell Christmas trees up and down like A roads and B roads and all that. It's like, and normally you meet those people, and we know those kind of people who they're very astute, and they've got this gamble. They've got to get rid of all these Christmas trees or all these fireworks, and you two have this date where you have to get 30,000 or 3,000 or 10,000, and ultimately, would you say if you didn't do this, you would actually be down the bookies most days? You would.
No, not at all.
I think you would.
No, I think gambling in some other form of business.
In other form of business.
I mean, every business is a gamble. It's just this is more obvious that, like you say, you have to get X amount of people on this date, otherwise you're in trouble. It's a bit different from music in a way. If an album doesn't sell, or going back to the days when albums were a thing, you'd find ways of getting rid of it eventually and getting some of your loss back. But once that day's passed on an event, you're done. You can't re-monetize it somehow because the day's gone. The people didn't turn up. Bad luck.
Although I've got a funny recollection, we had a warehouse after about a year later, after that Garage album flopped, and we got broken into. Everything got nicked, apart from the pallet of CDs.
Insult.
Yeah, proper that was. Yeah.
I wasn't even nicked.
It wasn't even touched. It wasn't like they'd gone through it. They just looked there and went, nah.
Yeah. Sod that. Yeah, we'll leave that album there.
Yeah, even we know that's worthless.
Have you both got a favourite event that you've put on? One that you're like.
Well, one that stands out for me semi-recently was not a rave event. We do a thing with Ali Paddy called Kaleidoscope, which is essentially dance music, but a family element to it and blah, blah, blah. And it's all outdoors at Ali Paddy. And the one where we came back after COVID, we were probably one of the first gigs that was on, because I think it had to be after 10th of July when Boris gave his little nod in February. Ours was on the 11th or something. So we were one of the first gigs back after a year and a half of going bankrupt, essentially, because not allowed to work, spending all your life savings, keep going. But anyway, we won't go into that. When we opened the gates for that was quite, I'm not a very emotional person, but that was quite.
Yeah, you felt something.
Seeing all these, 10,000, 11,000 people coming in, first time they've been out properly.
Amazing.
And a lot of those people were our age. It's an older gig, but they were so excited. Yeah. And that was.
Touch, yeah. Even you were touched.
Yeah, no, that was, yeah.
Mind you don't cry in it.
Yeah, no, it was one of those ones because we, so long being told we couldn't do this, couldn't do that. And obviously what our business was relying on people coming out. And also the people that were locked down and couldn't go out, the damage that done. To see them all out that day, that was, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good day.
What about you, Paul?
I don't know. I really couldn't say. We work with so many different partners or clients and stuff. They've all got their special moments.
It's nice to do and get to the end of it, and it's gone all right. And then the next morning, it's still gone all right. You haven't discovered someone's died somewhere or something naughty's happened.
I think what I enjoy is working on a new event, and the people you're working with are in their 20s, and they're talking to you. They don't see me as an old man. Yeah, they're talking to me and listening to me, and we're having a laugh. We're still getting the job done, and I get value out of that.
Educating them and feeling their energy back and all of that stuff.
That's it.
Yeah. What is the future holding for you both? Do you think you'll stop?
Yeah, one day. Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't know Paul thinks. I don't think we've done really as much as what we should have done. I feel that we were on a trajectory that was higher than what it turned out to be. And then we was rebuilding that trajectory again prior to COVID, and that's knocked us off where we wanted to do and do more of this and that. We're hoping to rebuild that again. I just think we could do so much more than what we're doing. We still feel, touch wood, we still feel young. We've got a good team, we've got old heads around us, got young heads around us. We're not limited to doing one genre of music or even one type of entertainment. We'll do whatever is decent and work.
So with your foresight, with his sort of like vision and like the things that he comes up with, and with you, like with your projections and stuff, with what it was you did want to do before COVID, how long would your brain give you to get to where you want to get to? Because ultimately, what you're saying, you want to rectify that situation, and you had these goals of before COVID. COVID comes along. You two are incredibly determined people who do not lose. You will not let the sign of bankruptcy or COVID or an album that don't get nicked out of your garage because no one wants it.
No.
You two will not be beat. So how long do you give yourself to get to where you want to get to on your next step, whatever that step is and that vision is?
For me, I only stop when the enjoyment stops. I still enjoy what I do.
It's in this order. I think that without getting too deep, life is health, wealth, and happiness. If you've got your health, that's the main thing. if you've got a bit of wealth or some money about you, that might, your health plus your wealth might give you some happiness.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know how long we got doing this. I don't know. We feel like we could do a lot more shows than what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, we've got some good people around us that could be employed a lot more, should we say? So we're giving it a go.
Yeah.
We don't. I know we come to talk about largely the past and what we've done and why we're doing the last gig and blah blah blah, but I don't really think about it a lot. And I know Paul doesn't at all. He's very like, well, we've done that.
On to the next
Yeah.
one. I think that's the inspiring.
I still
thing,
think
isn't it?
back. You know, I'm big on history and stuff like that. You know, I did a degree in it, so I'm always looking back on that sort of how these things happen and what we've done. But I still think we haven't really done a lot. So, and Paul's like, well, we've done it. How do we do it better? So,
Yeah.
it keeps you
Keep
going. Yeah.
Westfest then.
Mm.
We're going to potentially say this is going to be the last ever rave of its kind, multi-arena with that, talking of nostalgia and history.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
of course, you've got upfront music,
Yeah.
authentic past music. It is, because how I see it from my point of view as a DJ who's always been a multi-genre DJ and managed to sort of break some molds in my own in my own world. I'm seeing more and more the multi-genre concept, which was a Slammin Vinyl, Helter Skelter, Rain Dance, that 90s era, that is almost becoming a distant memory. Even for me, I don't play many multi-genre events. You have like Rejuve in Leeds, you have Epidemic in London, we do our little unit in the Sun thing in Corfu, but it's becoming harder and harder even for those real specialist cult-like events. And then you also doing your last ever Westfest. It says a lot about how things are changing and where people are more focused on just a drum and bass event or just a retro house event. So why is it the last one? Why is this so important to you two, this event?
Just times have changed. The main thing with Westfest, which is when you think about it, is obvious, but you have to think about it first, is when we started that 20 years ago, the main thing was to find somewhere huge in the middle of nowhere where you wouldn't annoy the neighbours and you could do an all-night show. That was the thing. So we found, or we were aware of this huge big place in the middle of nowhere, in the heart of Somerset. We could do it and not annoy people and have very loud music going off and lots of entertainment. The whole world's changed in that no one drives anywhere anymore, particularly the youth audience. They don't drive or they don't want to. Every park in every city is now, the councils will rent them out to people that want to do music festivals. They may not be raves, they may be modern day raves or they may be concerts, but your access now to large scale events is so much easier. You just get on a train or get an Uber for a £5 to take you down the road because somewhere near to you is doing something pretty large scale. So it's now out of time now. If you moved it to a town centre, it would probably work, but it's not in a town centre. You know, we're still playing current artists. Production's still as good as anybody who's independent and isn't backed by corporate money. But no one wants to drive 2 hours or an hour and a half outside of their town or city to get there. That's just the way. I can't do nothing about that.
Yeah.
So that's it's been a really busy event and kept us going through hard times for many, many years. But came back from COVID, sold out. Me and you could have played the ukulele, could have sold out 10,000 people that year because everyone was just so mad, keen to get out. The 2 years after that, there was a noticeable dip. And you think, okay, don't want to start ruining this, start losing money, start people going, that wasn't as good as it used to be. So we took a year off last year and just thought, let's see. Thought, okay, let's do one more. Let's do it properly. Big lineup, all the same production, lasers, screens, everything going. Let's see it off properly. Hopefully people will buy into it. The young audience that have never been might say, well, you know what, we are going to get in a car or get whatever to get there, and the older audience that used to go maybe come out one more time. And that seems to be what's happened. You know, the event will sell out in the next 2 or 3 weeks, which we're happy about, obviously. But we wanted to give it a proper send-off. So many times we've seen where dudes have just gone like that, and they've gone from doing 7,000, 8,000 to 300, still trying to rinse a few quid out of it. And that's not
always sad when that happens.
It is sad, yeah.
Because I think people chase not only their losses, but their pride as well.
Yeah.
And that's a skill as well in itself, to be able to take some time out like you did for a year. And also another skill, he's saying this brand's too important. Now, I always, talking and seeing Dave and Penny, I always admired that they didn't bring it back.
No. Dave is a very busy man and doesn't want to, I imagine, not speaking for him, but having spoken to him a lot over the years, doesn't want to ruin what he's done and what everyone thinks of it. So I can understand why he's quite cautious in that respect. And for us, it's still an ongoing concern. It's not like we gave up 10 years ago and bring it back. We took a year out to think about what do we do, and just done it, and people have gone for it.
Yeah, good. Because I like with you, say your Joe Labyrinth, your Nev Amnesia House, Jay Well Dance. They're absolute characters of people in there. They're like, they're such people's people.
Yeah.
So like when they bring their events back, there's just so much charm. Forget the DJs, them lot are going to get the people that they get because of their charm.
It's their personality.
Yeah.
They're the face of it. Whereas we've never been the face of it. We've just been getting on with it.
Yeah.
Which we've been happy about, I would say.
Yeah, there's certainly less characters now than there used to be.
Yeah, 100%.
Proper. Yeah, you got when we was doing these events, you had a thing called the Purple Guide, but you were learning on the fly really how you did stuff. And now there's degrees in events. Especially
been to music school, spoke to people about DJing and music and promoting your music, and you think like our education was listening to a pirate radio station or a friend a tape at school or someone, the first person who started buying records. That was our education, whereas now they actually teach this stuff in real music schools, and like it's a fascinating time when you start looking at it like that. We're beyond middle-aged men. We would have been our middle ages at 40, but we're now.
I keep moving the thing up. It used to be when you was a kid, middle age was like 35 to 55. Now I'm saying middle age is starting about 60.
Yeah,
so
just to make yourself feel better about it all. Can I ever encourage you and inspire you to get out all your equipment and to make a tune with me, or me and Pete Cannon? You two don't have to do nothing. You just set up the equipment in the old office, and me and Pete Cannon come in, who's an expert at all the old equipment, and we do a Slammin Vinyl tune with all your old 93 breaks. We bring in some crusty old records and sample them. Could I, with all my charm in the world, encourage you to do something with us? It don't have to come out. We just do it.
Not saying no. I'd be surprised if those discs still work, but we can get them out.
I mean, these are really old pieces of media.
Cannon, you've just heard Mike Slammer and Red Alert say it's not a no, and I can see the smiles on their face. I really think that we should do it.
We do chuck. I mean, I drive around sometimes and I hear a tune. I'm like, God, you could if that was around, you could sample that 25 years ago and make a big tune out of that. I do still chuckle when I hear stuff.
Yeah, we haven't been tempted, mind you, but no, if it's something you want to do, I'm sure we could facilitate it.
I think, like, seriously, I know you two are serious, but I think it would be such a cool thing to do, especially like when you think of the world of Pete Cannon, 4am crew, Near Archives, that modern world of people who do like 160 BPM, breakbeat, jungle, rave, hardcore music. I just think it would be incredible to do it, and I know that you two really like this idea because
you haven't said no.
Because you haven't said no, and you're both really like smiling away at the thought of the nostalgia. Because you promote because it makes you feel young,
Yeah.
Might as well make a 1993 tune to feel even younger.
You had this planned, didn't you?
No, I never had it. I never had it planned, but it's just like I can really hear, I can see something. I can like see something.
All right, well, we'll see, eh?
Yeah.
It's not a no, as Paul says, not a
Yeah,
no.
I tell you what, we'll start listening to some tunes and
Get in the groove of it.
Listen to your old tunes. Just listen to your old chaps. I'm absolutely buzzing that you've come in because no one ever sees you both on this kind of stuff, and
No.
and I think it's like it's fascinating because like there's so many promoter stories out there, but you've actually been through it all and stayed there and not let any situation stop you, any change in heartbeat. You love giving people a good time. It's just naturally in you. And I think everyone will learn something, and actually to see your two faces on camera talking about this stuff and almost admitting that you will do a 1993 show
Yes, right,
with
yeah.
me and Pete Cannon.
Yeah. Never say never.
Thank you very much. Thank you for
Cheers,
coming
Dan.
and
Thank you, mate.
thank you.
trusting me to do a podcast with you.
No, pleasure, mate.
Thank you.
Pleasure.